Hello, for those of you that are new or coming here just because it's an autism diagnosis or an assessment and stuff, just gonna say my name is Lisa. I have 3 children. My youngest is Edith. She has a 2p14 deletion, which also has, we believe, led to her having autism, global developmental delay, hypermobility and a sleep disorder, which is why I'm not amazing at this and I look really bedraggled. I haven't slept well in like 7 years. If you want to watch any of the other videos in relation to autism and the process over the years, I will link them down below, or I will link a playlist if I get myself organised, which will make things a lot easier. Just to say that it's taken quite a long time to get to the autism diagnosis process area, not because it's necessarily always this bad. We've just had a run of bad luck. She was referred when she was maybe under 2 years, 9 months. She started play school, and it was around then they were like, you really need to maybe get a referral here. So it would have been coming up to 3 or just turned 3 that we referred her. Unfortunately, we didn't realise her referral was lost, so it was about a year before she even got an appointment because we'd waited the 6 months, then rang up and was like, hello, and they were like, oh, we haven't got her on our system. So then wait another like about 6 months before you get an appointment. Kind of annoying, but it is what it is. The NHS is struggling and I appreciate it so much. I'm so grateful for the NHS. So yes, it was annoying, but I'm not kicking off about that because there's only so much they can do. Really, there is. We've then had 3 departments, 4. She's on her 4th department, 7th doctor. Her referral, when the departments have changed, has been lost 3 times now. She has had the blood test for genetic disorders, which is how we found out about her 2p14 deletion. So they sort of like don't bother doing the autism assessment until they get the answers to that, because they might not necessarily need to. And it's just, the whole thing's taken a very long time. But basically, she finally, after 30 months from her autism report, where we sat down and spoke to the doctor for like 2 hours and put it all down, finally got through an assessment. I was given paperwork to take to her school. Unfortunately, her teacher had only taught her for 3-4 weeks at this point, so the forms were pretty much no issues noticed, not applicable, fine. And so I did feel, looking at this form, like this isn't going to help at all. There's no answers here. It doesn't really say anything. And it's not that that's necessarily a bad thing. The teacher had nothing to say. I wasn't going to expect him to lie. I did ask the school if I could get her teacher from the year before to do a form or something, but they said they would get back to me, and they still haven't, and it's like 10 weeks after I asked and I haven't heard a thing. So, and she's had the assessment and the results at this point. So I've kind of given up on that one, but such is life. We went into the centre. Edith was taken into a separate room with a lady. Apparently there was, I think they said 3 doctors, 3 assessors in that room with her, and they just asked her some questions and played with her and observed her behaviour and whatnot. And then they bring her back and they say thank you very much. They can't tell you anything when you were there whatsoever. You just have to go off and wait for your follow-up appointment, which is a number of weeks later. And you're just sort of like, well, limbo's fun, isn't it? I mean, what else can you do? I did ask Edith in the car, what did you do? What did they ask? Because everyone wants to know that, right? It can't just be me that was like, please explain what's just happened. And she said, they asked me if my friend was sad in the playground and crying, what would I do? And apparently her response was along the lines of, I would find one of their friends. So apparently she doesn't think she's a friend to anyone. But anyway, I'll find one of their friends and ask them to make her feel better. Perfectly reasonable answer, I suppose, apart from the fact that she's just totally taken herself out of the equation. And they said, okay, so what else did they ask? She said, I don't remember. And that was it. She didn't remember anything, so I couldn't ask her anything. I did say, did they tell you not to tell mummy then? Am I not supposed to ask? And she said, no. So what happened? I don't remember. That was the end of that. Seriously, she just does. I've had no idea what she did in there. So I'm afraid I cannot help you there. I just know she played and they asked questions and they observed her. It was a good few weeks before we got an appointment through where we went in to speak to the doctor, but that came, and if anyone's been on my Instagram stories, I've spoken about a lot of this over there, so apologies to the repeating, but if you do want to hear when the letter comes through, because I was actually waiting for the letter from this appointment to come through before I did this video because it explained what the educational psychologist and the next steps are and stuff. But it's still not arrived, and my concern is if it doesn't come for like another week or something, I won't have time to film this video. Then it's going to be Christmas and New Year, so it would be ages before this video came out. And as people have been asking about it, I thought I would just come on and do it now. But if you do want me to do another video after I've received the letter, do leave me a comment down below. If not, head over to Instagram, because I'll probably be doing it on my stories, and I'll do a post about it so you know to sort of keep an eye out on my stories as well, because I just find it easier to do things as and when over there. But we go into this room, sit down, the doctor introduces herself. She was one of the people that assessed Edith, and she just says basically, to have an autism diagnosis you need to have a score of over 7, I think it was. Don't quote me on the numbers, I could be slightly off here, but I'm sure I think it was. She said, you know, you have to have a score of over 7, and Edith scored a 9. But she then did say, and I don't know how to take this comment still, I'm like not sure, but basically said the assessment is basically marked on classic autism as it's seen in boys, and obviously autism presents differently in girls. And had they done an assessment and marked her or scored her with classic sort of girl autism, she would have scored higher. And I was like, is that supposed to be a comfort? I don't know. Either which way, it's kind of irrelevant. She has an autism diagnosis, it's all official, and it's not like a pill you can take. There isn't a cure. I wouldn't want to change her for the world anyway. I would happily change the world for her, but she is the most amazing, wonderful, fantastic, brilliant. Oh my god, I love that little girl so much. She's the best. We're going to send an educational psychologist to her school who's going to assess her and then work out the best way, or the way that in which Edith learns. So maybe she's more tactile, maybe she learns from memory, you know, anything like that. And then what they can do is work with the school to come out with the best sort of education plan for Edith. Some people have asked how I felt with the autism diagnosis being official. I'm still torn. Like, when I came out of the meeting, a lot of people said, well, how do you feel? And it took a couple of days, I think, to mentally process it. It sounds really overdramatic. I realise it's not affecting my life particularly. It's not about me, it's about my child. But I went from being relieved that it was done. Like, I knew she was autistic. I knew it. There was too many things that would inhibit our day-to-day lives because of issues that she has. Not her fault at all, but it does affect her brother and sister. And so I knew she had autism. I knew it affected her, and I knew it was worth seeing what help she could get with having it and having the diagnosis and stuff in some senses. There was that sense of relief that, yes, we finally got the assessment and it's done. We've got the answer I was expecting, and that was sort of a relief. But there's also that, it's hard to put into words. Feels kind of like a sucker punch in other ways. I can't really describe it. It's not that I think there's anything wrong with her having autism. Like, I'm not disappointed, I'm not sad in that sense, but equally I kind of am sad about it. I'm sad for her, and it's just, yeah, it does, I can't really put into words how I feel. And anyone else that's had a child with an autism diagnosis, I don't know if you understand what I mean by that, because I'm not making sense. Can any of you put that into words? Because it's not something that's tangible. It's not something that I can really adequately explain, because I don't fully understand myself. There is that mix of relief, and there is a mix of sadness, and there's a mix of fear, because I don't know what I'm doing. And I may have a child who's about to turn 13 and an 11-year-old. I don't know what I'm doing at the best of times, but you feel like with the third one you should roughly know what you're doing, and she's so completely different. I'm still sat here like, I've got one of every variety, it feels, bar a boy with special needs. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean that in an offensive way, and I'm sorry if that actually offends anyone. That's not my intention. What I mean is, like, I've got the boy child and I've got the girl child, and I've got the, and I'm very confused a lot of the time. I don't know what I'm doing, but I haven't broken any of them yet. So that's what matters. And they are all the millions of children I have, though I have given birth to 6, but only 3 of them are mine. The 3 children I have are happy, they are healthy, they are wonderful, they are brilliant, and I wouldn't change them for the world. The videos are really, really long, so as usual, do check out the description bar for hopefully a playlist or some video links. and do leave me comments down below if you have any questions or inquiries or anything like that, and I'll hopefully get back to you as soon as I can. It might be a few days because I do have a job and children and a house and lots of different animals, and it just sometimes I just don't notice things for a few days because I'm an idiot basically. I'm a sleep deprived moron. But yeah, that's it. I hope this video finds you all well. I hope everybody is having a good week, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.